Hey guys, welcome back to another Vanguard video. Happy 15th anniversary to Cardfight Vanguard, and today we're going to be talking about all the news from the Sunday as well as the Tuesday livestream as well. So first off, we have a special Vanguard 15th anniversary livestream. This is essentially going to be wave 1 of the announcements to give full details of the anniversary special series product releasing in May, as well as a full year's timeline for the 15th anniversary celebrations. So I'm hoping for lots of merchandise, lots of events, lots of new sleeves, of course, and lots of exclusive anniversary art, which we kind of had in a PV that the Twitter already posted, where we also see Kai as well as Ren along with all the other protagonists. We also got a special PV opening animated by Mappa Studios, which looked really good. We have all of the protagonists as well as their ace units as well, basically their vanguards, what they're known for. Really interesting that Yu got Verena, but I kind of saw this coming anyways because Trickstar is his avatar anyways, essentially. So, you know, they just went with Verena instead of Trickstar. And we also have very special borders. I love that you can see all the special details of how the card art borders changed over the years, as well as the top left border as well, because that changed a lot, especially going into D and from G as well. And of course, you can see the very specific details that they've done, such as Intercept for Aichi. We have Twin Drive for Chrono as Chronojet, and of course, we have the Imaginary Gift Force for Shinamon as well. So honestly, just really great details. In other news, we also have a 15th anniversary remastered edition that will be broadcast and streamed on the JP channel. Don't know if we'll get this in English, but I hope so. And of course, that original OP from Jam Project, just absolute cinema. We're also getting an English conference in February as well, just to give more news on the English side. Hopefully this will also be in the premium events as well as any other news upcoming. This also includes White Sword, Shadow vs. Evolve, and all the other Bushiroad games. So really excited to see that we are getting that very early in the year, especially right after this big live stream that we had from Bushiroad this previous Sunday. Now, the biggest thing definitely was that we get brand new TDs for Aichi and Kai, basically remaking the original trial decks that we got at the very beginning of Vanguard as DZ basically units. We have Vanguard DZ SS15, but it's roughly around 20 Canadian, a little bit less American if you are there. But yeah, it looks really great, and we actually did get details from this Tuesday live stream on the reprints, and they're also going to be having new abilities. So first off, we have Aichi's deck containing 1 copy of Blaster Blade and Triple Rare Foiling. Furthermore, there's going to be 2 randomly included inserting of Triple Rare Foiling and a total of 3 shiny cards, and there are also reprints, of course, of the OTs and different Regulus pieces in each TD. So I'm hoping there are going to be really good TDs, hopefully not Primordial Heartblaze and like the other kind of mid, Regulus pieces that we got before. Hopefully really good ones such as like Twincast and Fire Regulus, but who knows for now. We just know each one will have a special reprint from each included nation, as well as special Regulus pieces that are going to be different between each TDs. So we know from the product information that there are 18 cards, 14 new cards, and 4 reprints. This could also include triggers as well, but again, I'm hoping the reprints are really good. Hopefully encounter units such as Cocoa and Bellicosity, those are ones that people have mostly been talking about, as well as any other generics, such as Sergeon, Shenri, the usual promos that are really hard to get and a little bit pricey, because it is quite cheap in JP and should be a very good entry product I'm hoping that they have designed. And to go back to the new abilities, they had a slide basically talking about how these are basically avatar units. There isn't really an official English name for it yet, so I'm just kind of showing off the slide that they did show off in the live stream. There are going to be special exclusive basically abilities for Blaster Blade as well as Overlord, basically being respective to, their avatars, to their players in the anime, which are Aichi and Kai. So I'm assuming this will be a special designation for these units. The name of the units are still essentially the same, but they are going to basically be upgraded versions. I'm assuming for now, just a little bit of speculation for that, but basically the traits and everything else, you see the border are the same. They just have a little bit of a special border in blue and red at the very bottom, and of course have the name of the characters right there for the unit. But yeah, this is a really exciting nostalgia entry product that hopefully will be very cheap in English as well as EU as well when it does come, because 20,000 yen is quite cheap. And if there are reprints, triple rare foiling, there is a lot of value that you can get from buying this TD, whether you're a new or returning player. The reprints for the triple rares and potentially maybe a promo, in the form of a reprint for a Regulus piece could be very big as well. So the other big reveal besides the start deck for Kai and Aichi is the new Herald of Crimson Moon DZ-BT14. This is an unofficial translation, by the way. This is just a direct translation from Google Translate of the JP Twitter. But we are seeing Gabwelius Fantome, who is a Dark States user. So looking like the final antagonist of the series, but there is a lot of speculation from lore that evil Vice Ruger or Vice Ruger turning evil might be up to something. Who knows? Kind of don't want to give too much speculation on the anime plot there, because I'm sure there's a lot of theory crafting there as well. We also have Kurumi's unit revealed Revealed for DZ-BT14, which is Great Magic Caster of Fleeting Existence Zerith Phantom. So kind of the complete opposite to Berucrea, which is used by Kagetsu's cousin. And speaking of Berucrea, we have the reveal of the DSR from the Parallectic Clash in DZ-BT13. For those who know and watched episode 2, there's a big plot twist at the end because that was streamed earlier basically on the live stream. So if you did see that, you know this character is going to be pretty important going forward. So I'm hoping that they do get some really good character moments and get some great time to shine. We also have the new unit for Ryuga Fushimi, which is going to be Dragon Empire, so they're likely going to be facing off against Now, and they are using Piercing Thunder Dragon Alphard Phantom, and we do have them revealed in Parallectic Clash, so they're coming basically in May instead of, later on in the set for DZ-BT14 for English. We also got the inclusion for a 15th anniversary commemoration box set bonus for Parallectic Clash. There's a Drive+1 box topper inclusion confirmed. There is Tripper and Doubler in the description, so I'm assuming they will be reprints, but I'm not too sure how exactly this will transition to English, especially when we're getting free rent as well. But I'm hoping that we do get box toppers or this included or something as well, because it'd be really nice to get more reprints in English as well, because it's really hard to get cards available a lot of the time, because it's a lot easier to get cards available in JP and in East Asia and less so in English. So just kind of nice for them to circulate more reprints of cards essentially. So out of nowhere on Sunday, we had two big collabs, and a lot of people were pointing at these collabs as basically a point for Vanguard, kind of not celebrating the legacy, but I think it was more so they kind of had to delay the information for the special live stream that we basically found out about today. But we have Yakuza Like a Dragon, which is really exciting to see, a Sega property. I did not really think we would be getting this for Cardfight Vanguard, the game with like 5 billion mini games, but of course well known for Kazuma Kiryu being the legend himself. So I'm really excited to see this for DZ-BT14. Just great for Vanguard to get more collabs, just to get more casuals and players into the scene. So really excited to see that. And out of nowhere, we also got the Inazuma 11 creator basically coming in and telling us that we're getting a big Vanguard set for this. And we also found out today on Tuesday that it is confirmed we are getting 2 trial decks as well. So a lot of big card pool for first release, which I think is really big and definitely very much needed and appreciated in standard. So the last two things to talk about before I get to the brand new Lisciafael as well as Juicy Fruity cards is that Vanguard Dear Days 2 DLC is coming out with Shiki Ote as well as DZ-BT08 for Blangdmire. And Shiki's got like a legendary VA voicing him in Dear Days 2. So Bushiroad's definitely got the cash for this. So definitely really excited to see Shiki Ote be voiced in Dear Days 2. One of the best characters from Skyride for sure that I will show for. And we also have a new Cray Prison records for basically the lore for the short stories that they publish on the website. So that's very interesting. Could maybe give us some more lore of maybe some upcoming units or some lore basically between some evil characters on Cray. So after talking about the collabs, we have the JP upcoming release date. Again, this doesn't mean anything for English. This is going to look very different for English, but we have the master deck sets. We have DZ-BT13 Parallectic Clash, the trial decks, basically the remakes of Aichi and Kai. Then we have the Bang Dream Premium Collection, which of course has the standard code right there. And then of course in DZ-BT14, we have the Yakuza collab with Like a Dragon with Kazuma Kiryu. And of course we have Inazuma 11, which is confirmed also to be getting 2 TDs and something coming new for the 5th month as well. Hopefully that'll be a master deck set or maybe a stride deck set. I'm hoping as well. I think master deck set's more unlikely because we kind of just had one, with Omorta and Odium, but I'm really hoping for a stride deck set to get announced because a lot of people have been waiting for stride deck set, and it's actually been over a year now. They've actually been a little bit late on announcing the stride deck set at this point, and usually in January, February, that's when they start doing pre-orders for them. So kind of excited to see if that will get announced with the February live stream, because I think that would be a big time for them to get shops to do pre-orders for them. But anyways, let's move on to the other news. So now moving on to the new Lisciafael as well as Juicy Fruity support, we have Feline Wim Vuja, so continuous. If you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Lisciafael in its card name, this card gets all the following. I'm trying to say Lisciafael, but I'm thinking of Lisciafael. Anyways, Anton Rearguard Circle, once per turn, you rest this unit, choose one of your units, and it gets plus 10k until end of turn. At the end of that turn, retire this unit, but isn't too much of a drawback, of course, because you're going to be shoving into Soul for Vanguard's cost to get that Drive+1. So honestly, just amazing. It's also not once per turn per card, so being able to get plus 10 to any of your units, but most of the time is likely going to be Albelina, because Albelina is your restander, and you can swing it off twice if you do swing Vanguard first and basically give all the triggers to side. So I think this is just a really strong support card, and it also has the secondary auto when put into Soul from Rearguard Circle by your Vanguard's ability. You choose one of your Rearguards without Sentinel, so you can't bounce PGs back to hand, and it gets auto Rearguard Circle at the end of your turn. Return this unit to your hand until end of turn. So just an amazing effect. Like, you can just bounce any of your key pieces from board back to hand that you didn't shove to Soul, or bounce your restander such as Albelina and just have that ready for next turn, because it was really annoying when it did get retired in some matchups. Of course, you had Yuika against Artisteria to basically bounce your front row and not get locked. blocked, but this basically makes it so you're clearing your entire board anyways. This card is basically Yuika and Ricius in one card, which is just amazing, and it's essentially costless as well, which I think is just amazing for the deck. So yeah, honestly, just a cracked double rare for Lisciafael. I think this card is amazing. Like, being able to buff Abelina to hit over 1 or 2 defensives without accounting for its own restand skill or any other triggers you're giving to it is just absolutely crazy. And of course, there's also High Five, a lot of other buffs that is making Abelina really, really, really big for absolutely no reason. And if you do the attack pattern of swinging Vanguard first, giving all the triggers, Abelina will be swinging twice because you'll Divine Skill, then restand it after you swing it, giving all the triggers from your first 3 drives. So yeah, I think overall Lisciafael is definitely one of the best lyrical decks by far. I think Chris Marine is still the best one right now, just with Cadenza being so good. But I think overall, I'm hoping lyrical will get a lot more going into the new year. Because yes, we did just get, the new lyrical DZ-BT3 set, but lyrical is still looking a little bit underwhelming, and we haven't really had anything new. But of course, we are going to be getting that new Magnolia Phantom coming up very soon in DZ-BT13 in this set specifically. So really excited for that. Next up, we have Beautiful Finish on Trit. So auto and soul, when your grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Lisciafael in its card name stands during your battle phase, you may call this card to back row center rearguard circle. So kind of an interesting effect, basically to reuse your soul, because honestly, once you hit the 6 for the divine skill, you don't really care about your soul anymore. So just really interesting, you have another booster. But again, you have High Five and other buffs, and Vanguard's usually going to be hitting a really great number anyways. Depending on how many you shove into soul plus Persona Ride, you're usually like 38, 43 or bigger anyways. So you're already hitting a pretty decent number with 3 drives that your opponent's either going to be PGing or just taking anyways. So I don't think you really need this card, and there's definitely no space for it, but it is really interesting to kind of basically have that effect that when you do stand with the divine skill during your battle phase to get an extra 8k boost. So the last card to talk about is Juicy Fruity support, which is Temp Smirk Saraduma. So auto, when this card is placed on rearguard circle from hand, if there's a plant token on your rearguard circle, you cost Counterblast 1 to draw a card. Then continuous rearguard circle Guardian Circle. If you have a Vanguard with Juicy Fruity in its card name, this unit gets plus 5k power and plus 5k shield, also active on your opponent's turn. So basically a Broccoli from Leonore in Juicy Fruity, which I think is hilarious. And they also basically worded this card so it doesn't work for Artisaria because it specifies plant token, not just any token card, unlike the previous Juicy Fruity support. So kind of interesting that they're kind of giving Juicy Fruity its own identity, but really this is just like a copy paste card from an old card that already existed for Broccoli. Pretty good card for Juicy Fruity, I would say, like being able to bring your CB, draw 1, and having early K shield, because your entire ride line is Juicy Fruity named, so it'll be 10k shield anytime. So a little bit of a better condition, but I would still say it's kind of just not exactly an intuitive card. But overall, just looking at it on its own and the deck it's supporting, it's still a pretty decent card. So you're not getting, beaten up in the early game, and you still have a CB outlet basically to draw cards without having to get to, other generics. It's just very easy to slam this card down, make a column, and kind of rush down your opponent because, it'll be 15 with a token. It's 20 hitting over a defensive. All right, so that pretty much wraps up everything. My gosh, this recording is almost at 30 minutes. Next Tuesday, we have Blangdmire Phantom, which is going to be quite exciting. We saw already what it did in the preview for episode 2, so I'm kind of going to spoil what it does here. We have Zamoog here, which can get a crit according to some conditions. We're not sure exactly what, going to wait for the full reveals. But we did see that it did heal damage on turn 4. So once it got the 4 Crimson Moons and the 8 cards in bind, it's likely 8 for now, but I think there is definitely ways to get more than 8 cards. But again, I'm assuming it's face down because it's Blangdmire. And of course, it does look really strong because it only does 4 attacks, but it calls a card from drop. So very similar to Rezal, we could have a situation where you basically have the hostage package to prolong the game and you're healing 1 every turn. So I think this deck could be very, very good at basically being like Zorga, where you're trying to prolong the game and out-resource your opponents while slowly twiddling them down because you have crit pressure on Van, you have 4 attacks, Zamoog is going to be plussing you as well, also being crit pressure, which is really, really annoying no matter what damage you're at, and being able to heal, we don't know the condition, but we had Sweet Linkers being able to heal no matter what damage you are. So I'm assuming that it's going to be the same for Blangdmire here. It's just that it'll be restricted likely to your bind count, so you can't really get it on turn 3. Because we don't really have any other cards that bind face down. A lot of them bind face up. But, Keter just has every Keter generic out. But Keter just has every generic under the sun, and it will likely be the case that the Crimson Moons that the Phantom characters do use are likely your order play for the turn. So, of course, they'll activate cards such as Surgon and whatnot. Or if not, then you can just, be playing it through a card ability and also be playing Nebula Knight order. If you do have something that doesn't, that plays basically the mood order without counting it as your order play for turn, through such ability. But anyways, I think overall, Phantom Blangdmire is looking really good. I can't wait to see the full effect, just from the episode alone, it's looking really strong, and it kind of looked like Suo was kind of taken out afterwards. Just a little bit of a spoiler, but I do hope that we get a little bit more from his character, because he kind of just showed up in the show, so it'd be really weird if they wrote him off, but that's kind of what it looked like. But anyways, Blangdmire Fantome still looks really good. You know, being able to heal damage, crit pressure on rear and van, 4 attacks, looks like quite the package for Keter. So, you know, still really excited to see it. Definitely going to be making a video next week, so do stay tuned for that if you are a big fan of Blangdmire or just want to see what the first Phantom unit has to offer. But yeah, next week, Blangdmire Fantome, be there, be square. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you did enjoy, of course, like, subscribe, the usual, share the video, and I'll see you guys again in another Vanguard video.